FanDuel Punch Out. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J Clay. Taking a look at tonight's 15 gamer and a lot of high price pitching, a lot of pitching options on this slate. So overall, I mean, you got hitters not in the best spots, but definitely some usable guys at relatively cheaper price tags than usual.
Yeah, lots of ways to go. I don't know if that means you make a lot of tournament lineups tonight or you just have convictions with a few plays. I think I'm leaning more towards just having some conviction. I know there's just too many combinations tonight to really hedge. You know, it's not like you're going to find every combination. So I think we got a few plays I'm pretty strong on, and then you kind of make your way through the pitching.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Giants and Phillies, I mean, we're pretty much going to narrow down the teams that we really do like. And Giants, for me, are one of those teams getting one of the better matchups on the slate against Zach Eflin. I like this lineup, especially with Hunter Pence. They're starting to get healthy. The trade for Eduardo Nunez is solid. A little bit deeper of a lineup to kind of go about. So I don't mind Eflin don't mind picking on Eflin with some of these prices. I mean, they're kind of in that mid-5 range. So I feel comfortable kind of using Giants in all formats.
Definitely. Eduardo Nunez is so Giants. I definitely like him. He's pretty cheap betting later in the lineup, but I still think he's got a pretty decent shot. I think Crawford's in play if he's in the lineup, and even a Denard Span type. So I think I'm looking at this as sort of a tournament stack or more of a one-off type of lineup for me.
Yeah, definitely. And the only price tag that really does catch me off guard is Brandon Belt at 4K. I mean, obviously there's a lot of potential for him to go off. Nothing more than GPP. I don't think I'll quite pay up for him in cash games.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the Phillies go, I'm not really looking to pick on Bumgarner. Not a lot of guys who catch my eye that really hammer left-handers. So
I'm surprised Odubel Herrera wasn't still 4,500.
Yeah, well, the one time we get to talk about Odubel Herrera, usually he's up 48. So
something stupid, yes.
Yeah, but overall, I think Giants are kind of the more intriguing option and one of the more intriguing teams facing a weaker arm.
For sure.
So, Rangers and Orioles. I mean, two right-handers that don't make me feel pretty good about right-handed bats. But obviously, I still think you can take a look at some of the Orioles in a GPP fashion, just because obviously the ballpark's still pretty favorable. And overall, I mean, Darvish, I mean, a little bit of a home run problem so far to start. So I don't mind taking a shot at an Adam Jones or Manny Machado here.
How about Chris Davis?
No, I feel like he's going to punch out 4 times. I just feel like this is the type matchup where it's over 4 with 3 Ks.
How about Chris Davis?
If you want to talk about Chris Davis, go for it.
How about Chris Davis, guys? I'm in on that. 3,900 against a righty. Sure. I mean, Darvish hasn't been perfect of late, so while I'm not really targeting Orioles, I do think there's some decent one-offs in this lineup. As you mentioned, even Machado or Trumbo against Darvish is fine with me.
Yeah, definitely a GPP move. They don't quite have the pay down as far as the salary goes outside of Jones. Jones is a decent price tag, so I don't mind that. As far as the Rangers go, I don't mind the 1-2 punch of Profar Mazara against Bundy. I mean, obviously, Bundy a little bit prone to lefties. I mean, 3.36 WOBA allowed in his short time, 1.29 home runs per 9. Obviously, that would be something. Beltran, if he's in the lineup, I mean, this new look lineup just really is scary.
That's nice. Whereas Beltran doesn't need to be the 3-hitter anymore. He can just kind of be a contributor at the end there. I mean, that's really scary. So I do like this lineup quite a bit. As you mentioned, Pro Farmers are really cheap, 27 and 3,100. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And obviously wait till that lineup comes out and see how it's constructed. Because I mean, if Beltran's batting 5th, he's definitely in play for me.
Definitely. I mean, same thing with the Lucroy. I mean, that lineup is deep. I mean, that is going to be a lineup I think that is going to be troublesome for a lot of pitchers. For
sure.
So overall, I like grabbing the value. I'm not really quite on the Ian Desmond price tag, but certainly the guys around him I like quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, Twins and Indians and Kyle Gibson versus Carlos Carrasco. Not really looking to pick on Carrasco, But obviously, I mean, if you wanted to roll out a Max Kepler,
All right, we need a moment of silence. Okay. I'm never talking about Max Kepler. He's going to be erased from my database. I will be blind to him in any lineups. We are not speaking we're not on speaking terms anymore. I am done with Max Kepler. That's it. It's over.
I mean,
So that's it.
I mean the fact that Carlos Carrasco, I mean, 1.32 home runs per nine to lefties this year doesn't have you intrigued with Kepler at all as a repeat
I
performer.
don't know a Max Kepler. I'm not familiar with that name. That is that the UPS guy?
No, he's just a guy who hit 3 homers and kind of sent you to the showers early.
You know that resembles some type of memory I had, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, all right, it's okay.
So
We
anyway,
can't win them all.
in terms of this Twins lineup, I don't know how far in I am on anyone here. So, not really necessarily something I'm looking at tonight, and we'll see who they put at the 5 hole today.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly something. I mean, obviously Kepler still has big power. Vargas as well. There's always some home run upside. It would be a
Did you say
contrarian move.
Gabe Kapler?
It's not
Gabe,
It's not Gabe. It's Max. You know it's Max. You wake up from your slumber.
Max Delury?
As far as the Indians go, I definitely don't mind some of these prices. I don't mind a Lindor at 3-4, especially given that Gibson has struggled a little bit against lefties this season. And always the Jose Ramirez Chisenhall under 3K prices, I don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, they have some competition now for the deepest lineup with the Rangers, but overall, obviously you like the lefties in this lineup once again. I think you roll out the top 3 there you have to really like.
Yep, I'm definitely there. And as far as the next game, I mean, Royals and Rays, Yordan Ventura, Matt Andriese. This one I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of any bats in this game, especially at their prices of some of them. A Brad Miller at 3.5 always certainly in play with his upside, but outside of that, I mean, maybe a Dickerson at 2.7. I don't feel comfortable using a lot of Rays here.
This is the black licorice of tonight's slate. Just gross.
As far as the hitters go.
Yeah, just gross.
Yeah, no, it
Disgusting.
definitely is. No one worthy of mentioning for you.
Cosmer at 33 is not bad.
Yeah, okay price tag for him. I mean, relatively cheap, and usually the first baseman here are the only ones with any sort of real upside in this Royals lineup.
Mm-hmm.
So, White Sox and Tigers, Anibal Sanchez versus James Shields, and
There we go. There it is.
The Tigers' prices really aren't that bad. I mean, Ian Kinsley's your most expensive guy. You'd have to pay up to get kind of guys like Cabrera and Martinez a little bit, but I don't mind the Castellanos and Justin Upton prices. I mean, there's definitely some upside in this team. Vegas certainly thinks that they're going to be scoring a ton of runs. So, Comerica, not the greatest hitters park, but not bad either. I don't mind this Tigers lineup.
See, and I think you could pull off the 3-4-5 here and still be able to get really strong pitching options in there. So I do like that quite a bit. I think that's sort of a potential cash game move for me.
Yeah, it definitely is. And on the White Sox side, Anibal Sanchez is a guy who's just been really struggles against both sides of the plate. I mean, 356 WOBA to lefties, 1.32 home runs per 9. You look at the righties, 392, 2.11 home runs per 9. So I don't mind some of the White Sox bats here. I'm not going all in, but I think given that there are some value prices here, like an Adam Eaton at 3.4 is not bad. The Tim Anderson at 2.9 is certainly intriguing. I don't mind those guys. Even Justin Morneau at 2.7 would be probably a really contrarian play.
Yeah, I like Tim Anderson at 29. I think that's a really solid value. I'm even taking a slight look at Jose Abreu, maybe if you want to do the 2.4 there. And obviously the bully Justin Morneau at 27. I mean, can't beat that.
Yeah, I definitely don't mind it. So I think overall this game could have some definite potential on both sides, and the prices really aren't that bad.
For sure.
Yankees and Mets, Jacob deGrom versus Masahiro Tanaka. This one, I'm not really expecting a ton of run production on both sides. Hard for me to pick on deGrom. I think more so I'd be more inclined to pick on Tanaka. If I am looking to use some Mets, and it's probably just the guys like Granderson, Walker. I might take a stab at Jay Bruce in a uniform if he's in there.
Ooh, I don't know if I can really go at either of these pitchers with these lineups. I can commend you though. I do like those prices of Granderson and Walker at 25 and 27 though.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just more kind of GPP stabs. It's not
Mm-hmm.
anything cash.
Yep.
So Pirates and Braves next here. Garrett Cole, Mike Foltynewicz. I don't mind really some of the Pirates bats here, but more so I like Gregory Polanco, 3.8. I am intrigued just given that Foltynewicz still struggles with lefties. 366 WOBA this season, 2.25 runs per nine. Outside of that, I'm not really buying into a lot of the Pirates hitters. This one is kind of a meh game for me too.
Yeah, definitely a mad game. Foltynewicz, while he is a weaker arm on this slate, he's not horrible. So, Pirates obviously been struggling. So you can't necessarily feel comfortable that they're going to take advantage of that matchup. And Freddie Freeman at 3K, sure. Other than that, I'm not touching anyone in the Braves lineup.
No, me either. Cardinals and Reds, Dan Straley versus Adam Wainwright. And looking at the red side of things, I mean, if you wanted to punt, you can look at a Greg Garcia. I don't mind that. Just given that there are a lot of high-priced pitching options, and maybe it helps get you in that next tier bat.
Kareem Garcia.
I mean, outside of that, Stephen Piscotty, I don't mind 3.3, Holiday 3.5. I'm happy with Brendan Moss being back. That adds a little bit more potential in there at 3.2. So not bad prices for the Cardinals. They're kind of sitting at mid range. So overall, I'm fine with using them against Straley, especially in that ballpark.
Remember Kareem Garcia and Pedro going at it back in the day? That was fun. Yeah. So in terms of Dan Straley, I like some of these Cardinals prices, but at the same time, I'm not overly confident in it either. I like Greg Garcia once again. Obviously, splits aren't totally in his favor, but lefty versus righty, you do like that at 2,200 for a second baseman. So, overall, not bad. I don't think it's a full stacking lineup, but I think you can throw some of these guys in there. Matt Holliday as well.
Yeah, certainly. I think they're playable, and I mean, obviously, it's not a perfect matchup against Straley, who's pitched, above average, above what I've expected this season. But I think, given the fact that they're not facing an ace on this slate, they're one of the more intriguing teams.
Yes.
So, as far as the Reds go, I'm not really looking to use anyone at their current price tags. Obviously, I do think an Adam Duvall is certainly intriguing at 3.3. I think that's kind of about it for me. I'm not really looking to pay up for Avado, who really red hot to start the second half, but 3.9 is a little pricey.
Yeah, I'm not really looking to target Wainwright. As we mentioned, he's not necessarily a pivotal play tonight, but at the same time, you're not really going.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Next game here, we got the Cubs and Marlins. Jose Fernandez versus Jason Hamill. I wish the Cubs bats were priced down to a point where maybe I'd even consider them, but tough for me to pay a 3.5 for Rizzo against Fernandez. Same thing with Brian at 3.8. I mean, and a guy who strikes out 37% of the hitters he faces, it's just kind of tough for me to roll any Chicago bats out there at their price tags.
Yeah, tough to roll them out. Tough to roll out a Chris Bryant at 38 and Rizzo at 35.
Yeah.
They were in the mid and some stabs, but
yeah, I think so too. And as far as the Marlins go, I don't mind the lefties here. I don't mind Adi Gordon at 3.5 or Yelich. I really like Yelich price. I mean, you look at Hamill. I mean, he struggled with lefties this year. 3.43 WOBA, 1.51 home runs per nine. There's certainly intriguing options on this slate. Outside of that, I mean, Hamill's been pretty solid against right-handers. But given the fact that Stanton and Ozuna have some decent price tags, I really don't mind them either. Just given the fact that, I'm more prone to the Marlins getting run support than I am the Cubs.
Mercurial. That's a good word. It's a good word.
Marlins, you like any Marlins here?
Not especially. I think it's just a wishy-washy gray area lineup. I think you can do a one-off with a Christian Yelich, Zuna or Stanton, but not a night where you're really going at Hamill.
Okay. Blue Jays and Astros, Lance McCullers versus R.A. Dickey. I'm not really looking to pick on McCullers, who, I mean, really limits home runs. I mean, he doesn't give up a ton of bombs. I mean, rarely do you see any home runs off of him. So for me, I'm not looking to use Toronto at their price tags. A little too expensive for me. I think I'm more ready to use Houston bats than anything here.
Agreed. Yes. More of a Houston bat type of night than a Blue Jays night. I think the McCullers and the Blue Jays could kind of average each other out into nothingville. And I mean, you're still paying 4K for Encarnacion, so that's a lot to pay against a decent arm. In terms of the Astros, though, I'm kind of okay with paying Springer, Altuve, Correa, all around 4K tonight. It is expensive, but I think it could be worth it.
Yeah, definitely agree. I think there is some upside here, especially the way Dickey's pitched and the way he's pitched, on the road and giving up homers. I mean, 1.62 homers per nine to righties this year, 3.32 WOBA. Lefties, 364, 2.01 homers per nine. There's a lot. I mean, obviously Springer and Altuve and Correa are here, but I feel like there's a lot of cheap punt potential here in this lineup as well. I mean, Alex Bergman, 2,400. I don't mind that. Obviously Colby Rasmus or Preston Tucker. I mean, I just feel like there's a lot here for cheap and a lot of home run potential.
For sure. Lots of cheap prices.
Yeah, definitely. So I feel comfortable kind of using them and kind of popping them in a lot of different GPP lineups.
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers and Rockies, and this one here, I'm not the biggest fan of just because of the prices. I think given the fact that you do have two above our average right-handers, I'm to the point where obviously core stacks are always in play, but at the prices, I'm not really that excited about it. I guess given that there's still a cores bump.
I still like Seager. I think he could have a big night. Same with Justin Turner. But yeah, no, I agree. In terms of cash games, I don't really see many of these guys fitting into lineups. I'd rather pay up for pitching. In terms of a Josh Reddick, I wish he was a few hundred cheaper. And then I'd probably be more in on him. But yeah, I'm probably sticking to just Seager and Turner for the Dodgers. And then, I mean, lefty power here for the Rockies, Blackman Cargo. Pretty standard for tournaments for me.
Yeah, that's who I'm definitely looking at as well. It's just kind of the main names in that Rockies lineup. And I'm with you. I mean, not really a cash consideration for me. I don't feel like I need to get all over this game. I think there's other games that I feel comfortable targeting because we look, I mean, 5.1, 5.4 projected. That's not really that great in cores. I mean, we've seen much higher. We usually see much higher. So I'm not the biggest fan.
Agreed.
Nationals and Diamondbacks, and Nationals bats are really my favorite tonight. I just think in that ballpark with all those right-handers against Ray, who has been good, but overall still a guy who allows a ton of a ton of hard balls hit off of righty bats. 348 WOBA, 1.39 homers per nine. Give me Trey Turner at 3.5. Give me Wilson Ramos at 3.5. Worth's a little expensive, but the way he's mashed lefties, 3.8 is a good price tag. I think, the Washington Nats bats are in for a big-time performance again.
So I guess the question is, with this Nationals lineup, do you fade the lefties completely?
I don't think so. I mean, especially not Daniel Murphy. I mean, he's just so dialed in, and at 3,700, it's a reasonable price tag. I'm okay with fading Harper at that price. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the play here. You go for Murphy with the 500 discount on Harper, and you kind of look at Turner, your boy, and Ramos and Worth. I mean, I think that's a potential four-person stack in a tournament here.
Yeah, definitely. And on the Diamondback side, I mean, I'm not really looking to pick on Tanner Rourke, but when you give me Jake Lamb and David Peralta at those price tags, I mean, Peralta 2,200, Lamb 3,200. I'll definitely take a shot when those prices are right there, given their upside against right-handed pitching.
Yeah, Lamb should be back in the lineup, so bat and cleanup. Definitely like that at 3,200 against a righty. I'm also okay with Michael Bourne at 2,400. I mean, that's super cheap. If you are going with Lamb, maybe you could throw a Bourne in there as well.
Yeah, so more looking at the value here for the Diamondbacks rather than the
Yeah.
Segura Goldschmidt price ranges.
Yep.
A's and Angels, Sean Manaea versus Matt Schumacher. I'm not really looking to use A's bats here. Obviously, there is some power from Chris Davis and Vogue still, but I'm not really jumping on it. I like Schumacher a little too much tonight.
Yeah, I like Schumacher. I'm not touching any of the A's bats. I just think that's not an optimal move. Maybe you could throw a Vot in there, but he hasn't been too great of late. So I would kind of avoid that if you can. In terms of the Angels, again, Mane's been all right. So I'm not necessarily going all in on the Angels here. Maybe a Trout, but he's super expensive. So that's more of just a deep tournament play anyway.
Yeah, I mean, these last few games here on the West Coast really aren't that appealing. And I think the Angels and A's are both kind of teams I don't get a lot of exposure to.
Hmm.
As you mentioned, I mean, Trout's price tag of full rates way up there. Obviously, Pujols and Jeffrey Marte, 2,400, they have some pop. I don't mind them in tournaments, but that's about it.
Right. I'm with you.
Sox and Mariners here, Wade LeBlanc versus David Price. I still think there's always a possibility that you can roster Nelson Cruz against good lefties at 3,500, and I still don't mind Daeho Lee given his production against Southpaws. Outside of that, I don't see myself really taking any chances with any of the lefty-lefty matchups or anyone else that pops into the lineup.
Yeah, Nelson Cruz at 35 and log out, I think is how you're approaching this lineup so far.
Whoa,
Uh,
whoa, whoa.
what?
Log out. Just,
Yeah.
whoa, Nelson Cruz and log out, huh?
Yeah, log out. Again, like we were talking about yesterday, you just put Nelson Cruz in your lineup and then you hit submit
Yeah, and then
and see
that
what
doesn't pay
happens.
off.
Yeah. Yeah, but worst case, you just don't enter the tournament, you know?
That's true.
Yeah.
As far as the Sox bats go, I'm not really on a lot of these guys. Hanley is intriguing at his cheaper price tag. Um, Outside of that, I can understand using a Bogarts or a Pedroia, but I don't see really the need to. And bets at 4,700 is a little too pricey for me.
I like Bogarts. I like Hanley, like you mentioned. But other than that, I don't think it's not you need to pay up for Red Sox. So I'm preferring the pitching. So um, not a fade, but I'm not getting too much exposure to the Red Sox tonight.
No, me either. Brewers and Padres next year. Luis Perdomo versus Zach Davies. And Davies, I mean, a little bit of struggle with lefties. 3.3 Woba allowed 1.12 home runs per nine. I still don't mind, Ryan Schimpf at 2,700. I still think that's a decent spot for him. And even a Will Myers at 32 with his upside. I don't mind the front half of this lineup, just given the fact that it's okay value.
Yeah, solid value. But at the same time, I don't know that I trust either of these teams to provide any significant fantasy points for me. So I'm probably not going to be touching them. But yeah, there are some decent punt values.
Yeah, definitely. And that's really all I'm kind of looking at here. And as far as the Milwaukee side, I mean, that lineup is really just yuck. There's really not a lot of potential there for me for any sort of runs. I think given the fact that Jonathan Villar's price tag is 3.6 and near some other shortstops I want to use, everything's just kind of taken out of play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you.
So that's going to wrap things up with the FanDuel Punch Out. Be sure to check out dailyfantasycafe.com for all great tools and content.